What are some of the qualities or the characteristics of Babylon?
Yes, this is an assignment I do in my classes.
Mm,
Read Revelation 17. Tell
mm,
me what the marks of Babylon are. And it's
mm.
not hard to see them.
Yeah.
Most students get 5 or 6, sometimes all of them. Sometimes too many. They're not
Oh.
that different. But yeah, first is that it's idolatrous or it's anti-God in a Jewish and Christian sense.
Mm,
So it's emperor worship, it's
yeah.
paganism, it's idols, it's worshiping gods that aren't gods. Okay. That's one of the characteristics is it's anti-God of the Jew and of the
Mm-hmm.
Christian.
Mm,
Second, it's there's an emphasis on opulence, luxury,
mm,
extravagance. The clothing of the beast or of the woman of Babylon is noticeably extravagant.
right.
It's sort of like what you see in the Rococo of 16th whatever century France
Yeah.
with the
Right.
way these people dressed.
Right. Right.
It's way over the top. Where do they get all these jewels and everything?
Yeah. Yeah.
The third characteristic is it's murderous.
Mm,
You can't read anything
yeah.
about the era of the emperors, let's say from Julius Caesar to Trajan in the second century in Rome, and not recognize that these emperors were murderous. They
Mm,
were machines of death in
mm,
their militaries. But the number of emperors that were assassinated and the number of people that each of the emperors assassinated or had killed is just alarming.
yeah.
And this becomes also a theme about anybody who opposes them, which is persecution.
Mm,
So there's persecution of some believers, not a
yeah.
widespread one, but there's a persecution. A fourth is image, and
Mm,
I call it now branding.
huh.
We all know what branding is.
Yeah.
Rome was big on reminding everyone that they conquered that they were here.
Yeah.
You remember Kilroy was here. These little
Mm.
people used to write this just as kind
Yeah.
of graffiti. Rome laid deposits everywhere. They had little idols, they had monuments, they had architecture that reminded everybody of Rome. They created streets, they created roads. The roads that allowed them to travel from place to place were connected to Rome. All boats led to Rome, they ended
Mm,
up going there. So Rome was into image and branding. There was militarism.
mm,
Rome's military machine was just amazing. In fact, well, amazing in a bad sense,
mm,
astonishing,
mm,
stunning.
mm,
Um, all the word imperator, where we get the word emperor,
mhm,
is the sort of the military tyrant who
mhm.
conquers in victory.
Yeah.
And almost all the emperors were military men
Yeah.
who rose to the top, and they were elected
Mm,
by the militia.
mm,
They weren't elected by the people. It had to be
mm.
the force of a military group, a
Yeah.
large group of cohorts that said, Vespasian is
Mm,
going to be our next emperor.
hmm.
And if they had to go to war to do that, they would go to war.
Wow.
But it was millions of people died as a result of Rome.
Yeah.
It was an economically exploitative
Mm,
military machine.
yeah.
The book of Revelation describes boats. You can just see the Mediterranean flooded with boats
Yeah.
headed toward Rome, bringing in grains and olive oil and whatever they needed. They exploited from the countries that they had captured and they had conquered, and they just sucked up the resources that they needed.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would go conquer a place because they needed the resources that that place was
Mm,
known for. And then finally, the characteristic to me is arrogant.
mm,
And if you don't mind a slightly political comment,
mm,
"Make America Great Again" is the sort of slogan of Rome all the time, that they
mhm.
were the greatest nation on earth.
Yeah.
And the woman of Babylon uh, in Revelation 17 just says, "I'm the queen. Nobody can do anything about it."